Hi guys, welcome back. It's Dan K. We're doing the NWSCC Marconi Eastern Creek. This is Div 2. This is on the Saturday on the Easter weekend. And this is the preem lap. So 7:36. Race started at 7. So this is the preem. Julian does a bit of a lead out. And man, he's a super strong rider, one of my teammates in front of me. And before we get into the preem lap, let's have a look at some of the stats. Now, this is today's plan. I can actually do an entire video on this if you guys want. It's pretty cool. The second interval is the actual race, so 259 normalized power, if that means anything to you. So for me, I weighed 75 kilograms on the day, and that put me at 3.5 watts per kilogram for an hour and 15 minutes. It was a tough race. Yeah, I definitely struggled in this race quite a bit. So going into this race, I was training stress balance. If you have training peaks or today's plan, training stress balance of -25. So I was quite fatigued, and you can see there anaerobic power is almost 20% of my power output for the race. As you will in any race, you will want to recover as much as possible. So you can see that I've definitely made the most out of my recovery wattage there as well. So if you do want me to run through today's plan and my experiences with it, I'm more than happy to do so. I'm not a professional, so I don't care about people seeing my watts or anything like that. Julian here, absolutely smashing it. He passes one of the breakaway riders. There's one up the road as well. And this is always a really hairy corner. I used to love this corner, but I seem to take it at speeds which make me pretty uncomfortable these days, and especially coming from a crash last week. But Julian is just smashing the pedals. I'm sitting on his wheel at way above threshold power, and I just don't have it at this stage. I'm just thinking, I think my legs are really not in it, carrying quite a lot of fatigue. It's just Julian on the front at the moment, and he sort of looks back at me, and I tell him, look, go. Just go, because I don't have the legs for this. So I peeled off to one side, and quite a few riders came through, and I just kind of jumped on the back. So yeah, pretty hotly contested preem. Sort of drove up the pace quite rapidly. You see everyone's sort of strung out. It's a pretty big field there. I think it's been split as well. And yeah, we're sort of gearing up. This is sometimes it's a tailwind, sometimes it's a headwind. This was more of a headwind straight today, which made it quite difficult. A lot of people wanted to take refuge in the wind. And yeah, I thought, okay, maybe I will go with the preem. And this guy's kind of inadvertently doing a lead out. And yeah, so I put a bit of power down just to sort of rev the engine, get up. But I see these two guys going at it on the right-hand side, and I'm like, all right, once you know you're not going to get the preem, there's no point, because there's no second or third. So I stepped off the pedals, and that was that. Bit of an anticlimax, but hey. So, as mentioned, I didn't feel too great this race. This is me in front, Mr. Yellow Oversocks, and yeah, if you're ever looking to get a wheel or get a place in the bunch, it's always cool to be able to slot in behind one of your teammates. So I was driving Noeris up the bunch, and yeah, so Noeris, this is Noeris's camera, and I'm sort of trying to make a few places on the right hand side. Noeris has said, all right, I'm going to come with you, and we had a bit of a chat, although you can't hear it in this. I was sort of like having a bit of a chat with him, saying that my legs didn't feel very good. And some days it's like that. Like, obviously I'm carrying a lot of fatigue from the week, so that's why my legs didn't feel too good. But I really, I couldn't put the power down today. I was sort of just barely hanging on. So coming down the straight, I gave Noeris the nod, and I'm going to get him a good position up the field. So it's a pretty big field. We went from back to mid, and then I just said, all right, come with me. we're gonna get you to the front of the race. So into a headwind, sort of 400 plus watts, 54k an hour, just smashing the pedals, and yeah. So I'm gonna drop Noeris off at the front of the race and let him do his thing, really. So, I mean, that's the thing with teammates. Like, if you're not going to figure in the race, like the guys were willing to work with me, especially for the preem. But I mean, this was the point that I sort of knew. Like, I went to respond to an attack, and I just had nothing left in the tank. The legs didn't work. Noeris jumped on the wheels, which was fantastic, and yeah, I sort of. I peeled off to one side and said, well, that's my race. So, you know, I was soft pedaling at, Jesus, 300 watts, you know, letting everyone go past me, and I was just like, that's my race done. So, meanwhile, up the field, we've got Noeris, and this is actually a really interesting dynamic here. So there's 2 Sydney Uni Velo riders and 2 Sydney CC riders. So Sydney CC is my club. And one of them attacks, the other one just soft pedals, right? So, you know, he's letting that attack go. He's obviously blocking at the front, and it's up to this guy who's 2 wheels in front to really move past him and not let this guy get away and get the win. So, as you can see, he goes around the Sydney Univelo rider. The Sydney Univelo rider could have probably let Julian go through, but he's hopped onto the back just to make sure that this guy's not a threat. But he's actually let the real threat go, which is Julian. So Julian's actually bridging quite rapidly there. But it's too late for this guy. He's just going to sort of sit back here. Noeris, a bit of a tail gunner. He's a sprinter as well, so he's happy to let this play out, just to see where this cat and mouse game goes. The guy in front, he blows up. Like, he's chasing hard, he blows up. The Sydney Uni guy attacks him again, and it's just Noeris and the Sydney Uni guy, and he's coming up to help his teammate. So Julian's made contact with the other Sydney Univelo rider. It's getting like super quick at the front. Noeris is having to put down huge power to make contact again. And it's a really interesting dynamic here because it's 2 Sydney Uni guys and 2 Sydney CC guys now at the front end of the race. So Julian is probably done a lot of work here, and I mean, I don't know who that guy is or where that guy came from, but that is a pretty fierce attack from another rider in the field. So these guys are probably, you know, coming up to the end of the race. They've been racing for about an hour and 20 minutes now. They must be on the rivet, absolutely on the rivet. So coming up to the straight, a lot of the guys have caught up in the group. So it's there's quite a few contesting now. These 2 guys come out of nowhere. Noeris follows, and yeah, Noeris has not made contact here. He's in the wind, he's in the headwind. He's too far back to really get the benefits of a draft. He's sort of sitting in third at the moment, and then there's a final kick by the guys, and across the line. But there was some confusion. They were holding up a Div 2 board there. They held up the Div 3 board the lap before. So all those guys that were smashing it were actually killing themselves for not even the last lap. The last lap now. So this is the actual last lap. So I'd actually been sitting in thinking my race was over. But once I actually realized that a lot of the top contenders had killed themselves out of the race by accidentally going for the wrong finishing lap, I hopped on and decided to contest for the sprint on the last lap. So I made a few mistakes here. Hopefully you can learn from me. I've gotten to this guy's wheel, and I probably should go here, but I didn't. And this guy ends up boxing me in. You can see the guy's shadow on the right-hand side. There's a guy right next to me. You can't see him. And this guy drifts across and boxes me in, and I can't contest the sprint. So you can see just 0 watts there. If you're boxed in that sort of situation, there's literally nothing you can do. There's no, it's too late to maneuver around someone. It's dangerous if you're not holding your line. So it's in everyone's best interest that if you've made the wrong tactical move, like I did, you just you wear it, and that's your race. So it was a really good race. I enjoyed it. Div 2, this was super quick, 40 kilometer hour average for an hour and 20 minutes. And yeah, I really enjoyed myself. So I'm back Monday. And if you haven't subscribed, please do. And I'll see you guys next time.